Welcome to Daily Records. I am Tommy Burton, and today's record is the progressive rock classic "Close to the Edge" by Yes. This is the fifth album by the English band, and I credit Yes, very closely with creating what became known as progressive rock. For those of you who don't know, progressive rock, sort of a mold between classical, jazz, and hard rock. This album was released on September 13th, 1972. It was recorded in the early part of 1972. And this followed probably one of their most successful commercial albums, Fragile. So they put out Fragile, and it became, thanks to songs like Roundabout, it became a big hit, and they toured behind that. It's a beautiful gatefold here. And so they went in the studio with producer and engineer Eddie Offord and set about to recording Close to the Edge. Now, Close to the Edge, following Fragile, has been widely regarded as one of the all-time great progressive rock albums. It's sort of considered the cornerstone of the progressive rock music movement. And still mostly regarded as one of the great prog rock albums. Sadly enough, when the album was finished, the drummer Bill Bruford, he left the band to go join with King Crimson. I think he felt like they were taking too long in the studio. But featuring the classic lineup of the band: John Anderson, Bill Bruford on drums, Steve Howe on guitar, Chris Squire, the great Chris Squire, on bass and vocals, and of course Rick Wakeman on keyboards. Just like I said, a classic lineup of the band. The album really had three tracks, essentially. Close to the Edge on side one, and then You and I and Siberian Katru on side two. And like I said, Bill Bruford left after the recording of the album, but the album went on to be considered a landmark of progressive rock, and the edit of And You and I became a hit single for the band. And so they had done this 6-month tour behind Fragile, and bands back then it was all about releasing an album, touring behind it, getting back out on the road. And so it was really a lot of arduous processes, and it was just a grind. It isn't like now you put out an album and you wait 6 years and then maybe you put out another one. So it was just, you had to keep following up and driving yourself to do much greater work. But I think this album really kind of sums up everything that Yes was doing around this time. The sort of complex arrangements and playing, epic sort of songs. The 18-minute track, Close to the Edge, the opening track, is just, it's one of the longest songs that they had done. There was a tape loop on the introduction, and it opens with, these sort of birds chirping, and it brings you into this sort of world that's and you kind of have a little bit of ambiance that's created. But again, it's just a fantastic musical journey. You go kind of all over the place. It never gets too heavy. It's not like a hard rock album. But, if you appreciate great playing, particularly bass and keyboard and guitar, Steve Howe is a phenomenal guitar player. And Bill Bruford is not weak on the drum set. And so I think, if you were to put this album in a time capsule as a definition of progressive rock, I think this is the album that holds up to that. And it's a perfect example of what progressive rock really is. There's a lot of prog fans, and some of you guys may take issue with what I'm saying here, but it was a shame that it took so long to get Yes into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because I feel like if you're going to have a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with Rush in it, how could you not have Yes in it? It didn't make sense to me. But they are in there now, so that wrong has been corrected. But that's a whole other statement. But I think this is one of the definitive prog rock albums, and it's a fantastic listen. So I recommend it to anyone out there. So today's Daily Record, Close to the Edge by Yes. So like, subscribe, comment, and share. Tell me what you think about Close to the Edge. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. It's TommyBurton75. I love interacting with you guys. Check out my regular VC channel, Tommy Burton's VC channel. But in the meantime, I'll see you all again tomorrow with another Daily Record.